The world's 10 tallest people, even seated, are taller than Yao Ming. Number 1 nears 3 meters. Number 10 is Turkey's Sultan Kozan, 246.5 centimeters. Sultan's height was certified by Guinness World Records as the tallest living person. 2 years later, at 26, he was remeasured in Ankara and reportedly reached 2.51 meters. Why so tall? Not inherited. Born in 1982, Sultan didn't start rapid growth until age 10, while his parents and 4 siblings are average. His size was caused by pituitary gigantism from excess growth hormone, and he left school to farm and support his family. He said being tall helped with tasks like changing light bulbs and hanging curtains. But he struggled to find clothes, shoes, and to fit into cars. As a teen, he was signed by Galatasaray's basketball team, but was too tall to play. He remains a fan. He's also known for having the world's largest hands and feet. His hand was 28.5 centimeters. His left foot 36.5 centimeters. His right 35 centimeters. The giant's life changed in the following years. After his record-setting size went public, he got free surgery to curb his height and growth at last. He also received tailored clothes and a chance to travel the world. In October 2013, he finally realized his dream of getting married. And amazingly, he and his wife had a full 56-centimeter height difference. Even though his growth was no longer exponential, Sultan's height still had endless possibilities for the future. Who knows what kind of height gap he and his wife will have decades from now, and whether it will surpass other record holders? You watching at home might as well take a guess. 9th place, Wayno Milerin. They all said Jacob was a giant among World War II German soldiers, and many even said that at 2.1 meters tall he was the tallest soldier ever. But who would have known that actually in the 1940s there was a Finnish soldier who grew to 2.51 meters. His name was Wayno Milerin. Wayno Milerin was an acromegalic giant who at one time was the tallest person in the world from 1940 to 1963. When he was 21 years old, his height was 2 and his weight reached 197 kilograms. But in his 30s, he went through a second growth spurt, his height increasing to 2.51 meters. Wayno served in the Finnish Defense Forces and also underwent conscript training in the Viipuri Heavy Artillery Regiment. He was very strong and was considered the tallest soldier in history. Perhaps precisely because he had received military training. It was easy for him to become a professional wrestler and a circus performer touring Europe. In 193, he returned to Finland and served in the Finnish army during the Winter War. Besides that, he even ran a chicken farm. The range of his occupations is astonishing. Most interestingly, Wayno was also voted the 12th greatest Finn on a TV program, mainly due to a half-joking online protest. Advocates of the movement in the show argued that people shouldn't pick the greatest Finn based solely on one person's achievements, so Wayno was included on the show's list because of her height. In 1962, a year before Wayno's death, doctors measured her height at 2.46 meters, and her hand span reached 34 centimeters, one of the largest hands. That record still stands to this day. Leonid Stadnyk was born in Ukraine and is a veterinarian. Yet he reached 2.57 meters tall. His height was normal until a brain tumor removal at 12. That likely stimulated his pituitary to oversecrete growth hormone and trigger rapid growth, leaving his parents unable to buy clothes or shoes that fit. He repeatedly refused measurements by the Guinness World Records Committee. Guinness first named him the world's tallest man based on his correspondence, but later tightened rules and stopped accepting outside measurements. Leonid wasn't keen on the title and wanted a normal life. He studied veterinary medicine, but couldn't find a proper bed at school. Back home as a country vet, he often walked in winter without suitable boots or gloves, suffered frostbite, and had to quit. He also crushed 2 bicycles, found walking increasingly hard, and his huge fingers couldn't accurately press phone keys in emergencies. Leonid said, "For me, my height is a curse, a punishment from God. not something to celebrate. I don't know a crime I've committed. My whole life I've dreamed of being like everyone else. Leonid repeatedly declined Guinness's measuring requests, claiming shyness. Maybe that's why. 7. Hu Wentong. In 2018, a Vietnamese man named Hu Wentong drew crowds when hospitalized. Onlookers came to see his height, overcrowding his ward, and the hospital couldn't provide a suitable bed since he was over 2 meters tall. Hu Wentong's family had to hire a laborer to lengthen his hospital bed to 2.6 meters for his 2.57 meters height. He was hospitalized nearly a year and ended up a few centimeters shorter after treatment. Born in 1984 in Hanoi, Vietnam, he is the eldest of 4. Hu Wentong's father said in an interview their family was average height, who was normal until 17. When a fever triggered growth from about 1.7 meters to 2.57 meters. His parents, selling coconuts, couldn't support the household, so Hu moved to a commune to farm shrimp to get by. For this poor shrimp farmer, his height brought not convenience and money, but disease and trouble. So much so that at just 34 this giant died. 6th place, Franz Wenkemeyer. An ordinary man could only reach his elbow. Even Emperor William's tall soldiers looked small before him. He is Franz, who was called the Lungau Giant. Franz was born into a small farming family in Austria. After his parents bought a house between Friedberg and Lungau, he attended school in Friedberg until age 14, when he contracted an infection and then shot up to 2.59 meters. Franz was so tall he couldn't work on his parents' farm. Even bending took effort, and he couldn't handle the many chores there. Luckily, a tailor in nearby Friedberg heard his plight, helped him, and pushed him toward life as a traveling entertainer. Franz traveled to Budapest, Berlin, Paris, and eventually London. At Queen Victoria's Golden Jubilee, he was presented to European nobility. He soon died of illness, and with no larger coffin available, his body was buried in parts. 5th, Willie Camper, an American giant from Memphis, Tennessee. He began abnormal growth at about 9. At death aged 18, he was 2.6 meters tall and 450 kilograms. His shoes could hold 20+ apples. His height made everyday life much harder, excluding him from many activities. As he aged, Willie struggled to find work and became a circus performer. In 1943, he died of a heart attack during a juggling act in Martinez, California, and was buried in a 9-foot coffin in Mendenhall, Mississippi. His abnormal growth was caused by gigantism and thyroid problems and reportedly never stopped. 4. John Francis Carroll, born 1932 in Buffalo, New York, often called the Buffalo Giant in medical literature. Why? It began with a serious illness at 16. Severe spinal curvature and extreme gigantism followed, marking a major turning point for Carroll. His rapid height gain set him apart and made everyday tasks difficult. He was soon hospitalized, but limited medical care brought little improvement, and the rapid growth continued. Carroll didn't give up and kept up rehabilitation. At 27, his standing height reached 2.4 meters, though doctors, noting severe spinal curvature, estimated his true height at 2.64 meters. By 1968, his spinal disease worsened, and his standing height fell back to 2.4 meters. He battled the illness for decades until his death in 196. 3rd, John Rogan, called the Immobile Man. Not glory, but endless sorrow and helplessness. Born in Hendersonville, Tennessee, he was the 4th of 12 children and the son of former slave William Rogan. With gigantism, he shot up from age 13. The disease spiraled, and he once hit 2.67 meters, making him the tallest man amid criticism. For Rogan, given his origins, it was utterly disastrous. Logan's size caused severe ankylosing spondylitis, stiffening his joints and making it hard to bear weight on his feet. At first, he used a cane, but by 182, Rogan couldn't stand. Still a teen and unable to work, he sold his photos and postcards at the train station to survive. He died in 1905 of complications, and his family buried him under concrete to stop scientists from exhuming him. This giant wasn't officially measured until after his death. At 2.67 meters, he weighed only 79 kilograms. Runner-up Peng Chazao Sari. In 2015, his family, after washing dishes, found the 26-year-old Asari dead in bed. Born into a poor Thai family, his father had severe health problems from pesticide exposure in the rice fields, and his niece lost an eye to a neurological disease. These blows worsened the family's plight, and Asari's strange height changes alarmed his relatives. Sasori soon developed health problems and could barely walk. Treatment was unaffordable, and his mother went into debt. To get care and help his family, he went public. He'd reached 2.8 meters. Media attention secured government and volunteer aid, and he received timely treatment. However, after one discharge, Sasori unexpectedly died at home. He was reportedly 2.69 meters tall at death. Number 1. Robert Wadlow, the world's tallest man. Born in 198 in Alton, Illinois, he was an ordinary newborn, and his parents and 4 siblings were not particularly tall. But when Robert was 6 months old, he already weighed 14 kilograms, and his height began to shoot up. By age 5, little Robert, still in kindergarten, had to wear adult clothes to school. At 10, he had already reached 1.95 meters, and by 12, Robert's height had reached 2.1 meters. His parents made him a custom desk. Robert, one of 5 children, played with his siblings and wasn't treated differently for his height. Though fairly healthy, his unusual height caused major problems. He couldn't find suitable housing, public facilities, or household items, and had to adapt to do simple tasks. Fortunately, Robert's family cared for him. His father removed the front passenger seat so he could sit in the back and stretch his legs, turning the 7-seater into a 3-seater. His legs and feet had only constant tingling. With special light braces, he could hobble, but never used a wheelchair. In 1936, the famous Lingala Brothers Circus noticed Robert and hired him. Indeed, the world's tallest man drew countless spectators. He appeared at Madison Square Garden and Boston Garden, but never in vaudeville. Crowds still swarmed him, making him famous, not necessarily for the better. When Robert was 2, numb legs kept him from noticing a foot brace installed a week earlier, rubbing his ankle and causing an infection. Such an infection might mean nothing to an ordinary person, but for Robert it was fatal. Because of this accident, Robert lost his life. Even in the moment before he died, his body was still continuing to grow taller. As he was about to meet God, doctors measured his height once more and found it had reached 2.72 meters. We cannot know what height Robert would have reached if he had not died in this accident. Okay, that's all for this video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and press the bell icon. See you in the next video.